Okay, David, this is Donnie again. I'm going to give this tutorial for you regarding what we call the media library. Now, when uh, this probably won't come, you probably won't do much with this the way we have your site set up. Anytime you add a photo, PDF, or even an audio file to a page or a blog post, it is automatically put into your media library. Now, how do you find your media library? Right over here, dashboards. By the way, if I hadn't mentioned it, anytime you see updates, please do not update any of those. Our technical guy goes in and updates plugins and things of that nature from time to time. You might even see up here where WordPress has moved to 3.1.2 or whatever it might be. Don't ever click that, because just because it's available doesn't mean we always want to update it. Our technical guy kind of vets out all the different updates to make sure that they're the right things to do before. I mean, he'll go sometimes weeks or months before updating just to make sure they've tested out all the bugs and so forth. So, okay, here's how you find the media library right here. You can add new there or library here. There's also a way to add it. Now click on the library, and what you'll see here, here's also an add new there. Notice that on your, we have 111 images on your site. That's kind of crazy. But this latest picture that we added of you, these are probably some things I assume that are blog posts that you did, probably similar to that. Let me see, you've got FAQs. Sometimes you're going to find things that we loaded on your site a long time ago and probably need to clean off, but it's not really that critical. This header woman, header man, these are original that come with a theme. We just probably need to go clean them off, but for now we just leave them there. Doesn't bother us to leave them there. And you'll see pretty much all these different images. I mean, this is the date that the blog uses. So when you click on the blog and you see that this little date thing here, that there is run from that image. So that's what that's pulled up. That Flex Home, this theme is called Flex. That's runs that right there. So when I hover over that, it becomes that color. That's what that image is. So you can see pretty much where all these images come from. There's one on the home page, etc. And you've got all those. If at any time you think, oh, I know I put an image one time in there and it was a smiley face, you could search here and happy, oh, there's the smiley face, and you can do different things like that. You can also add new images, but one of the things I want to point out is, I'll just use this happy customers as an example. When you click on that in the library, this right here is the URL to that particular image. So every image on your site has a URL tied to it because it's an image stored on a server. This WP content uploads. This tells you where it's stored at. And so I can even copy that. I can open up a new window and I could paste that in, and voila, there's the big old smiley face. I mean, that's just to give you some idea of what you're looking at when you're in the media library. Um, if you ever want to add new images here, you can add them here. You can select the files, and then you just pretty much go find, the image, whether it's on your desktop or wherever it might be. You don't want to just maximum load the. Keep in mind that videos, if you did like a 20-minute video, it's going to be a huge file, and it's best, in our opinion. I think YouTube has 15-minute limits, so if you ever think in the long term, I like to have some video on my site, maybe a video of me explaining the estate planning process. My advice would be to keep it to 15-minute increments or less, and that gives you the ability to upload those to YouTube, which you then can turn around and embed those YouTube videos on your website. All of the bandwidth that it takes to hold that falls into YouTube's control, or their issue, and not the website issue. Because if you started loading lots and lots of video, it's going to take lots and lots of server space. We've got plenty of server space, but if you start loading a bunch more, we may have to come back and say, hey, you're sucking down all the server. So let's switch that over to YouTube, or there might have to be additional cost but I don't think that's going to be an issue. But best thing to do with that is just to keep that in mind when you're adding new things, just to make sure you don't overload the server. And it would take a lot to do that, but just be careful about that. Um, that's pretty much the media library. Um, Pretty much anything that's up there is going to be displayed. Like I said, you've got, what, how many, 6, 7 pages of images. Again, some of these aren't being used currently. They were original ones that we just never done anything with. But that's what they're there for, and so they'll stay on there. We don't want to delete anything off, even if you think, well, that doesn't look like that was being used. It may have been from an old blog post. It might be some part of the, you know, something on the sidebar you'd forgot that the image was there. If you take it off, then there's going to be this big space with maybe a little white box with a red check you may have seen, or a red X, and that means that basically the image doesn't exist, and that doesn't look good. So be careful about deleting things off of here, unless you know for a fact that you've uploaded an image and it's not what you want. You can delete it off. But biggest thing I wanted to show you on this was the URLs associated with each of these images, should you ever need to use it. I know we use Constant Contact for an email stuff that we do, and from time to time I draw from images that are on our website that I want also in the email marketing for consistency. And rather than uploading the file from my desktop or whatever file it is, sometimes it'll ask me for an image URL. And it'll say, hey, we'll go pull that image off the server if you'll just tell us where to go. And what I do is I go right to here and I copy that. And when I copy that and I paste into my Constant Contact and it says image URL and I paste that in, there's the picture that I'm looking for. It can serve the same purpose. So main reason for showing you this media library is that's one of the key parts of this, and that's where all the images are stored. So there's your media library tutorial.